Hey guys, what's going on? Coming at you from a crappy wet day of rain here in good old southern Ohio. But the good news is it's almost 70 degrees, but we're not going to get any work done outside today, so thought we'd take it inside here, and we're going to work on cleaning this place up a little bit. There's crap everywhere from where I've been doing things and just throwing things wherever, so we're going to get this cleaned up, straightened up a little bit, and I think we're going to start putting some resin on those door panels. So stick around. Guys, I don't know how well you can hear me with the rain hitting the building. I got the building cleaned up a little bit, and I got this prepped here. I didn't make no slugs to put in these pods here, so I just took some of my other speakers and wrapped them in aluminum foil, and that'll be able to peel off. But I already got my resin mixed, and I don't know how well you can see here, but we're going to start applying this, and we're going to do it pretty thick. Really let that soak. Because fleece will soak it up pretty good initially. I'm just going to do the outer edge of the tweeter pods here, and once this sets up, I can cut out the middle fleece. That way I don't have to take like a Dremel or something to cut it all out when I'm ready to start doing some more of the finishing work. Now guys, if you've never used resin before, if you mix it properly, which most of the time I do, but sometimes I still screw it up, you usually got about 10 to 12 minutes of work time before it starts setting up or turning into grape jelly, as I call it, because that's what it'll look like. To me anyway, it starts looking like grape jelly. Like I said, want to get a good soak on it. That way that fleece, it penetrates through that fleece, and it gets on some of the parts of the door that it actually touches underneath there. And don't be afraid to lay it on thick, especially when you're first starting. I always just use these cheap brushes. You can get these a couple of different sizes in a bag at the dollar store for $1.50, and just a cheap dollar store cups that, you know, ain't gonna kill you to throw away here. So I'm gonna keep applying this, and I'll check back with you. Okay, so I got about 2 cups. I'm not sure exactly how many ounces that is. Probably about 35 ounces, give or take, on this. Just wanted to get an initial coat on all of it. And as you can see, where it's really starting to soak in, these darker spots. That's why I like using these colors like red and like that, because it really starts to show where it's really starting to soak in. And then if you have to go over it again, and I'm not going to claim I'm a pro at this. I've only done this a few times now, so I'm still new at this anyways. But at least I know where if I go over it again, I can hit those spots that are a little lighter anyway. But I mean, this ain't the first time I've messed with fiberglass resin and doing other applications with it, like, you know, body work and that sort of thing. Doing other fiberglass projects. But with it being a little damp outside, it's going to take a little longer to set up, so I kind of mixed it a little hot. Put just a little more hardener in there than I normally would, which is not a big deal because I was applying it heavy and fast. And I can tell you right now, this is the only panel that's going to get it tonight. With this rain, I felt like I needed to get something done. So, I mean, maybe I shouldn't have done this tonight, but I feel like I got to do something, get something done for the night. My battery's getting low, so it keeps kicking my camera off. So, but it's starting to get dark on me, and I'm going to call tonight. Like I said, I got one good coat on there, and it's starting to set up. It's a little slow. Like I said, I figured it'd be like that with it a little damp out and humidity. So we're going to call it a night here. We'll come back to this tomorrow, and we'll see how it's set up. Well, it's been a couple days. Haven't been able to do anything because yesterday it freaking snowed, and today it has rained a lot, and now we got water. A lot of it's went down now, and I had to move our vehicles because we get anywhere from 1 foot to 2 foot of water right here in our driveway sometimes. So I moved them. There's the Blazer. It's across the road. So, but now it started out 40 degrees in rain today. Now it's up to about 65 degrees. So I'm going to move the vehicles back over since the rain's done and it's sunny out. This Ohio weather's been crazy. Like I said, yesterday snowed, today rain and flooding, and now tomorrow it's supposed to be back in the freaking 40s. So get these vehicles moved and let's see what I can get done to finish up this this part here. See what I was saying about the water? What happens a lot of times here is that water comes out the valley up here and it dumps into this field and ends up coming across the road here, filling up our yard. So I got another layer of resin on it. I just put this on like 5 minutes ago and it's starting to set up perfectly. So after this sets up, we'll check for any weak spots or whatever I need to do. And then what I'll probably do is I'll knock down some of the high spots with a sander. And then on those weak spots, I will apply some fiberglass matting and go over it. And then let it set up. And then I will sand it again. And then fill in some of my low spots with some Bondo, or skim it with some Bondo, knock it down, and that'll really figure out my low spots, and then we'll go from there. So this panel's up next. I think I'm going to get first coat of resin on it tonight. I got a little bit of trimming to do for my controls here and the door like I did in this one. See if I can do it a little better. This one's tacked up now. This gives you a better idea of what they're going to look like now that got a couple coats of resin on them. And we got another thunderstorm coming in. But like I said, once I'm ready to that aluminum foil, because I took the speakers out, I should be able to peel that right out for the most part without having any problems. But yeah, so far so good. Pleased, pleased, pleased. So let's see what I can get done on this other panel now. Alright, I'm able to move that and touch that. That's setting up beautiful now. So I got this one prepped. Got everything cut out here the best that I can get it. Wipe the dust off of this one more time. And then we'll get a layer of resin on it. See how long it takes to set up. Maybe get 2 on it and get it caught up to that door at this point. So let's get another cup mixed and start spreading. Alright guys, I got the first coat on this one, and it seems to have went a lot smoother than that first one did. So this panel, honestly, I think will end up turning out better than the driver's panel there, which is fine because you know, anybody that sits in it to listen to it and whatnot, they're going to get in and out of this driver or the passenger door anyway. So if that's going to be the perfect door or the best door that I can make, that'd be the door I want them to see, be that one there. So yeah, I hope you can hear me over the rain. But I got that all resined up, and we'll wait for it to set up. Overnight, I'm not going to be able to work on it anymore. As you can see, it's raining and it's starting to get dark now because it's pushing 8 o'clock. So we'll call it a night. Didn't get to work on it as much as I wanted to, but I mean, if anybody has done fiberglassing, it could be a little time consuming. So, you know, better I got a little something done than nothing done at all. Because here it is. This is April 3rd. It's going to be a couple weeks before you guys end up seeing this video, but here it is, April 3rd. We're about not a few, you know, Slamology is going to be starting June 9th, so I got, you know, about 2 months and 6 days at this point to get this done. So that's why I said I wanted to get a big jump start on these door panels, because they are so time consuming. So what better way to spend the time that I got here with it raining than to work on those. So alright, so we're going to end it for the day. This may be the end of this episode. I'm not sure yet. I have to go back and check them all. But if so, be sure to like, subscribe, and check back. If not, we'll pick us up in the next little upcoming segment here. Alright guys, coming at you here. We are applying a second coat to the passenger door now. Now, I said before, I'm not going to do a whole bunch of time filming spreading resin, because I mean, it's kind of boring to watch, in my opinion. But just wanted to show you guys where I'm at here. We got the first coat on this earlier this week, and then the weather turned to shit again. So I got the other door here beside me. I just did some touch up on it. We'll get this one resined up, and then I can start I guess you'd call it doing some of the finish work on it, making them really look good at that point. And I'm still laying this on kind of thick, because I would rather have it thick and have to sand some down than it not be thick enough and be weak on me in any particular spot. But I am no pro at this. I'm not going to claim to be a pro at this. I've only done this a few times now. So by all means, do not think I'm a pro at this. Actually, you know what? That just gave me an idea. I think I'll do a little video here later on, and I'll post this up before you guys actually see this. And I want to touch on some things, because I have had some questions about doing some work for some people and whatnot. So I'll post a video up, talk about some of that stuff. Like I said before, I don't care if I get anything on this. These are old handles out of those panels that I made last year, so I'll probably have to trim a little bit when I'm ready to take those off. But we'll put my original door handles back on here. Those ones look good and clean. But yeah, I posted a picture of these, I believe it was last night, on Facebook and whatnot. I'm pretty pleased with them so far. They turned out better than, I guess, than I envisioned they would look. I had some doubts for a while. And my teammate Jason Predieri. He's got the Audiopipe Explorer. You guys get a chance at that, check that out. I'll put a link in this to his some of his pages. He has got some very trick fiberglass work in his Audiopipe Explorer. It's just phenomenal work. He does great work. But anyways, he's gonna call me tonight. Texted with him earlier today. He's supposed to give me a call tonight, and he's gonna give me some pointers on doing some of this fiberglass finish stuff. Because like I said, I'm no pro at this. Back in, the mid-90s when I got into car audio, I mean, there were door panels. People made door panels, but no one was cramming as many speakers in a door as you could then. I mean, weren't making crazy fiberglass one-off doors and stuff like that. Kick panels and A-pillars and that sort of stuff. That was about as crazy as it got. Especially around this area where we live with people in their builds. But anyways, I ain't going to bore you too much here. We got about half that resined up there. We'll finish this off, and I'm kind of bouncing back and forth between doing the doors and the enclosure work in the Blazer now. So I'm kind of working on 2 parts of videos today, since it's nice and I'm able to get some glassing done. So what I'm going to do is, because I may or may not have enough resin left over, because I'm also putting resin inside the enclosure here and inside the Blazer. So what I did is I went over these panels real good, and I found some of my weak spots, and I went ahead and cut up some matting. And if I got some left over, if I don't use all of it that I got for in a Blazer, I got this prepped and ready to go. I'm going to come in here and start hitting this with some more resin. I've said this many times before. I don't know if this is right or wrong, but this is just the way I'm doing it, because most of this is just resin on fleece, and it's very, very strong. And I've only got 2 coats of resin on here at the moment, but these are some just they weren't weak, but I could move them a little bit. They still feel a little I don't know how to explain it, but what I will do is I got some matting over some of those areas, and I'll resin it up, and depending on how much resin I have left over, I'll just put all the resin I have on this everywhere that I can. That way I don't waste any of that. Okay, so I was able to finish out the first layer that I'm applying in the enclosure in the Blazer. So I was able to, I mixed up more than what I would have needed to do that. Then I came in here and I hit these areas with the resin again. I want to try and reinforce a little bit, and I went ahead and coated as much of the door again as I could. So what I'll do now is I'll let this set up, and we'll see how it is. And then like I've said before, these are off of the junkyard panels that I bought last year that I experimented with making panels on the first time. So I'll probably have to very carefully cut where the resin's got there with a knife, and then they unbolt from the back. I'll get those off now that I know this thing will be good and sturdy. That way when I go to sand this down, I can get in some of these areas that I wouldn't be able to get. And then once I get them nice and smooth and everything, and I get them painted real nice, and then I could put my my original door handles right back on there, and hopefully it'll look like it was made that way from the factory. So this stuff is setting up pretty quick today since it's warm, and especially since the sunlight's hitting this here. And like I said, I've got it in the Blazer. I got it shut up, the sunlight hitting it, so that should set up pretty quick in there too. and then I can cut more matting and do another 2 or 3 layers in there. So once this sets up a little bit, I'll throw the other panel up there and check to see what weak spots are in it. It's sitting right here. And then, like I've said before, I might try a trick that my good friend Jason Predieri told me. I'm not going to reveal his trick because he said it's a trade secret on doing like what will be, I guess, considered a final coat that goes on here. So I might give that a try. I won't film that unless he tells me that he doesn't care about this secret. But a little bit at a time, guys, a little bit at a time. These doors are over a month in the works now, and if you remember from the first series I did on the doors, which would have been, I believe, part 2 of this build series, or build, whatever you want to call it, I was working on actually building the structure of these inside because it was so cold and snowing and stuff. So hopefully J-April, as we're calling it, is over and we can actually have spring now. They're showing 60 degrees every day next week, 60 or above. So I really hope that's what happens. That way I can really start making some more progress on especially these doors. If you remember, I was adding some matting here and there. Some of these spots that I thought was weak, and added some more resin to them, and it worked. It strengthened it up. So what I'm going to work on now is I'm going to start knocking down some of these high spots and sanding this one down a little bit. This panel here I've still got to add to my weak spots yet. Sorry if I sound muffled, I got a mask over me. But like I was saying, I've still got to apply some more resin to that. But this one I think is ready to start sanding. So I'm going to start knocking on the high spots on this and seeing what it's going to take to get this thing looking even better now. So as you can see, it's starting to knock some of it down, but I got a lot of work ahead of me, so I'm not going to bore you too much with just continuous video of me sanding. So I'm going to work on this for a while, and I'll check back in with you, and we'll see what it looks like. So you've already seen my video on that I talked about where I'm not a pro at this, and I'm not afraid to admit my mistakes, and I believe I made a mistake here. I got these panels somewhat knocked down, some of the bigger, rougher stuff, and I thought I would put another coat of resin on them just to make them that much more stronger. And I got a different brand of resin, so I don't know if it's a mistake on my part or it's just a different brand of resin, but I don't think I put enough hardener in this because this has taken forever to heat up. So what I've been kind of doing is run a little bit of heat on it, trying to get the hardener in there that is in there to activate. Maybe what I'm hoping is that I can get this to tack up a little bit. I don't know if it's gonna set up completely. Or what it's going to do, but I'm probably going to have to, well, I know I'm going to have to go over it with another coat of resin and make sure that I mix it correctly. You know, like I said, I'm not a pro and I make mistakes, and I believe I made a mistake here. So let's hope that I can fix this. I'm sure I'll be able to. Just a little bit of a setback because this has been on here for an hour now, and it should have set up long ago. It's starting to a little bit, it looks like. Yeah, that heat activating it. So if I can, like I said, at least get it to where it's just a little tacky to the touch, I'll hit it with the resin again and make sure that I mix it correctly this time. Okay, well, those ended up tacking up enough that I was able to get yet another coat of resin on it, which I don't think is going to hurt at this point. I mean, it's only going to make them stronger, I guess. Probably have a little more finishing work to do, but you know, like I said earlier, I got a lot of the high spots knocked down, so we'll see if this sets up. I'm pretty sure I mixed it correctly this time, and it's got a pretty good sheen to it. So like I said, start hitting it with the sander once it sets up, and I don't think it might not be that bad to finish them up here. But that's where we're at. I guess I'm pleased. I mean, I'm still a noob at this. Last year was my first attempt at, you know, making like a half panel or whatever. This is my first time making full panels, so I guess it's a learning curve, just like anything else. But with that being said, I better turn this music down. YouTube will probably nail me with a freaking copyright because it was playing Metallica. Alright, well, I guess with that being said, we'll call it an end on this episode of The Doors. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed. I think it's probably going to be pretty boring. I mean, you watch me resin, you watch me resin, and you watch me resin, basically. But I mean, if it helps somebody learn, I all for it. Then I'm glad it does, because I'm certainly still learning this too. So we'll call it a wrap on this one. I'm not sure what part we're at now. I'm filming these in different sections, guys. So One day I'm working on this and one day I'm working on that, and I got to resume, you know, recording from what I was working on before. So I'm kind of out of whack off the top of my head here, what order I am in these videos. So, but anyways, so hopefully these will set up, and in the next video, when I work on doors, we'll come back and hopefully we'll be able to sand them down, get them glass smooth, or the best I can anyway, and we'll paint them up and see what they look like. I appreciate you guys watching. Make sure to hit that like, comment, and subscribe button. Hit that notification button so you get the alerts when my uploads go up and you can watch my videos. So follow me on other social media. All my links are in the description, guys. So I appreciate you watching. Bass on.